Good evening, friends, and you are watching Weekend at 5 with me, Navdeep Kaur Marwa. We look at the top headlines of the day today. Today, there have been 65 cases of COVID-19 in the community. All of them have been reported in Auckland itself. The ongoing drug scandal of R.A. Khan has led to the increase of security for NCB Chief Sabir Bankhande. Now moving on to some sports news. Rafael Nadal has said that he's unsure when he will return to tennis now. This has disappointed a lot of his fans. Good evening, everyone, and you are with Navdeep at Weekend Red 5. Today, we will be discussing the INZ new visa, offshore resident visa, and there was a webinar today where it was expected that INZ would reveal more details about the visa. We have our expert Aaron Hunt with us to give us more insight into the same.
Hi, Navdeep.
Indian Weekender, Aaron, how are you?
Good, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Okay, Aaron, to begin with, tell us today INZ had a webinar where we were expecting that not more information about one of visa and the details will be revealed. So what
They did start it out by admitting that there was no new information that they had that hadn't already been released to the public. They did point out several times that this visa was created to simplify things, to make things easier. But all they would be doing is basically going through what we already were aware of and just giving their view of it. That there was no more information that they could actually release to us to provide anything more to the community.
right? What do you have to say to people who are waiting for news, and what an expert do you think when the news will be out, knowing about what forms to fill, what will be the requirements? A lot of questions are surrounding right now.
Well, they've let us know that they should have the rules out, so the changes to the operational manual, the instructions, by the end of this month. But we're always very cautious, and we get given a time frame by Immigration New Zealand, not because of what Immigration New Zealand themselves, but that things coming out of the government themselves can often be slow. In the past, they've said to us about certain deadlines that weren't met, but it was outside of their control. It was more so the government failing to do that. So we are hopeful at the end of this month we'll have the full set of rules, the processes, the documentation, how things are going to work. But I'm not sort of, pinning my hopes on it, but definitely some point before the 1st of December.
All right. Tell me one thing, there are a lot of this policy as well. A lot of people who are left out are saying that, immigration should consider them, be it the offshore one, be it on PhD, student visa holders, or those stuck offshore. So what is your take on that? How do you see that? Just unfortunate of them not to be included?
Definitely. I think this has been a visa that has been rushed out. Even just a few months ago, they were talking about making changes to skilled migrants, and all of a sudden, skilled migrants being delayed by a year. This whole new visa comes from nowhere, and they're simply missing out some really big categories, like the students we have. I met today with the number of PhD students, people who are designing and doing the most amazing work. One just got her doctorate a couple of days ago. They're working in climate change, they're working in helping to find cancer, they're working in COVID and antiviral work, but they can't get residence, so they're not being pinched by people overseas. Where at the same time we're granting easy residence pathways to horse groomers. No offense to horse groomers, but horse groomers versus those who are helping fight COVID, it's a different category. So I think it's been rushed out. Those who are caught offshore, split families, those in the healthcare but who are on a partnership visa. These are people who should all have been included within this visa, but haven't been because it hasn't been thought through. The minister hasn't talked to the community, hasn't talked to Immigration New Zealand. He has made some decision, drawn a line in the sand. Okay, we're going with that, but it doesn't make sense.
Right. What do you think the government should be doing now? Because considering there's a lot of pressure on government now to include these categories. So do you think government should review their policy and do something of these for these people?
Most definitely. They rushed this out, but there is still time to fix these issues. I think they can't now cut it back. They can't now say, well, you were originally in there, but you're not there anymore. But they can add to it. And there's no harm, I think, in adding to it. People who are already in New Zealand, who are already established here, who have done years of education here, or been working in healthcare or security MIQ facilities, they're already here. Give them residence. It doesn't actually hurt anybody. They're already covered by healthcare, already covered by every other factor. Make them residents. It just seems the simpler approach to keep people who we need in the country.
What is your message to the government right now? Being a green from immigration, knowing what people are feeling, their sentiment right now, what do you think is one message that you would like to give Chris Fefoy?
Go out there and talk to the experts. Go out there and talk to the community. Go out there and don't just ask your pals, your ministers in government as to who they want to see. Go and talk to the experts like myself and my colleagues and say, okay, where are these missing gaps? Where are these issues that are being created? Because we're going to be missing out and missing a lot of people when there's been no actual interaction with the community, no interaction with Immigration New Zealand to some degree, and definitely no interaction with the lawyers and the advisors on who is missing out and who should be included.
Right. Tell me one thing, and also people are questioning the fact that they've announced that 165,000 people would be given residency, but they don't have manpower to do that. So how do you see that? Do you think they will deliver the promise that they have come within 1 year, delivering the promise?
They talked today that almost 3/4 of that number will be able to go through just being based in New Zealand for more than that 3-year, 821-day period. Now, those should be very easy visas to grant. So the principal applicant, they have the healthcare is done, the health checks are done previously, the medical the certificates there. They've done the time in New Zealand. Immigration New Zealand have access to that records. Tick those boxes, easy visa to grant. The problems start arising when they start bringing in partnerships and proving living together, as many will be aware of the issue there. That's when it slows down. So they can probably get the ones who are on their own done within a matter of an hour. Look at it, granted, next. But when we start getting the partners, the children, the dependencies, it starts getting longer. So I really can't see them doing the entire number within 12 years of them, so within 1 year of them applying. It can't be done.
Right. I also believe that this news was very rushed because of the fact that the government was under a lot of pressure to do something. So they decided to rush the decision. Were you expecting this announcement when it came about?
No, we worked it out about 5 or 6 hours before we actually got the embargoed press release. So I put a video out basically saying 100,000 was the figure that I was thinking of. And I covered most of the points. And that was just from talking to people who I have contacts with, talking to the community, and putting together all the pieces. And then a few hours later, we got the embargoed press release that told us the full figure. But up to perhaps a week before that, we were still being told about changes to SMC. So we were being told about, the point figures, changes to the English requirements. And then all of a sudden that gets pulled and this comes through. So no, there was very little in the community until perhaps a day or two before it got announced. And we started hearing these really strong bits of information that seemed to all fit together really nicely.
Right. And my last question before we leave would be about what is your message to people who are left out, who are feeling like they are wasted in New Zealand, they should have gone to other countries. Now because they just so for example, somebody who's on student visa after being on essential skill, they are left out and frustrated. So what will be your message to them?
That's hard for me because I am both talking to people who are going through this pain, and I feel for their want to go overseas where there is people being offered residency for a much easier way of doing it. But also, I'm a Kiwi, and I want them to stay here because it adds to this country. It makes the country better. I would say that there are MPs working on this. I spoke with Erica today. I know that Erica's been speaking with Ricardo, with James, trying to get changes made to add to the numbers. Now, we got told today that they're drawing a line in the sand and that's all they're doing, no more additions to it. But I think with enough pressure in the media and the public, changes can be made because if we embarrass the government enough, they make change. So I would say, at least for now, hang in there, see how it goes. We're trying to push for, even if this doesn't go ahead, get SMC more information about how that's going to work so that, you don't wait till August to find out how it's going to go. So hang in there for a little bit longer, see how Erica, Ricardo, and James go, and hopefully we can get some changes made.
Right. Thank you so much, Aaron, for your time. And we hope all the best for the people who are even excluded right now. So there's hopefully some way out for them.
Definitely, completely agree. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye.